Titans fans, we are so close to 9,000 subscribers. The bosses said we couldn't hit it in the offseason. Well, we're already almost there, and it's not even the draft. So hit that subscribe button. We are 57 subscribers away. If you're not subscribed, you're in alive. Plus, we're putting out the best Titans content on YouTube. You're getting the latest draft rumors, everything you need to know based out of Nashville. We got it for you right here. We also got an amazing show for you today, so stick around because it's going to be a good one. Appreciate you watching here on Titans Today. I am your host, Jace Andrews, and L'Jarius Sneed is officially a Tennessee Titan. He had his introductory press conference yesterday, and well, there was some quotes that I thought needed to be shared, kind of give you the cliff notes on it all, because Sneed was very happy to be in Nashville, and I think he really showed that in his interview, so I'll kind of provide context to these. But let's start out with the first one that I think is a really, really good one. I'm not afraid to lose. Now, this was talking about him wanting to go up against the best wide receivers in the league. And basically, his quote was, I'm not afraid to lose because the next one, I'm going to win most of my reps. Talking about playing the top receivers in the NFL. Speaking of top receivers, Stefon Diggs is now with the Houston Texans. So he's going to play countless amounts of very good receivers multiple times throughout the year. And guess what? With the Chiefs, he was able to contain each and every one of those. You talk about A.J. Brown. He did very well against him. You talk about Stefon Diggs. We'll show some stats later, but he really shut him down. There was multiple times where he was out there just being able to really, really control one player on the field. And he kind of said that if I can take away one player that you don't have to worry about on the defense, then that makes it a lot easier for the team as a whole to come in and be successful on defense. Now, the next one is something that I want to mention because there was talk about his knee and that being a potential issue and why teams were maybe a little bit more hesitant to trade for him than initially expected. He said, quote, ain't nothing wrong with my knee. Now, this all backtracks to the preseason with the Chiefs and into the first couple weeks because he was MIA at practice throughout the first 2 weeks of the year due to a lingering knee issue, was the quote. Now, obviously, he was fine throughout practice throughout the rest of the year, but that is something that teams were worried about. It was something that teams needed to make sure they kept an eye on, and in my mind, something that they needed to make sure that, hey, we're not going to trade for this guy and extend him for a long period of time if his knee is screwed up. It's not. He said it's not. He said there ain't nothing wrong with me. He said there was some issues, obviously, in my past, but we are all good right now. Now, the fourth quote is one that I think is one important one to share. I love this game for the game. Now, this context-wise comes after talking about his contract and how much money he was earning. And he said, it's not about the money. Obviously, it's great to have. It makes me, have to not focus on that, but it's more for my family. I don't really care about that. I'm glad I can just be happy and live, but I really just want to play football because I like playing football. And obviously, it's a great thing to hear, and he's happy to be in Tennessee. And it wasn't about the money. It was about wanting to play because he loves the sport. And obviously, that's a good thing to have when you have guys who love playing football on your football team. Then the last one, I think one of the better ones, I don't fear anything. Now, this is important because, well, he is going to be attacking some of the top receivers in the NFL. And I mentioned it prior in this video, but it's going to be one that he's going to have to face twice this year. Stefon Diggs, as he was traded to the Houston Texans today, including a 5th and 6th round pick for a 2nd round pick, obviously via Minnesota in that trade. I mean, this was an absolute steal for the Houston Texans. That wasn't even their pick. They basically just got out of the first round and got Stefon Diggs. That was their 1st round pick in some shape or way, and then got a 5th and 6th round pick. This is a very good trade for the Houston Texans, but for the Titans, it's something that they have to worry about because guess who was the winners of the AFC South last year? That'd be the Houston Texans, and now you have to go in here and think, okay, this division is loaded. You have the Houston Texans with a revamped offense, and now Danielle Hunter on the defense side with 2 of your players, by the way, Azeez Al-Shaair and Danico Autry on the defense of the Houston Texans. You talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, who lost Calvin Ridley to the Titans, of course, but Gabe Davis in. It looks like it's going to be Trevor Lawrence's year to finally prove he's worth it in this league. You talk about the team in Indianapolis. AR, he looks like he's going to be back. Will he stay healthy? They obviously have Michael Pittman that is supposed to be a really top-tier wide receiver. There's a lot of scary, scary talent, and this trade right here just makes it even scarier. However, L'Jarius Sneed versus Stefon Diggs has been a one-sided affair in the recent history. 5 games against each other. Only 10 times has he been targeted, which is kind of something in itself because 5 games and only 10 targets just shows how locked up he actually was. And in those 10 targets, he only caught the ball 3 times. 30% of the time he caught it. I mean, 70% of the time, L'Jarius Sneed and Stefon Diggs were there, and they targeted Diggs. It was slapped away. 37 yards on those receptions, no touchdowns. And I say this all because the AFC South is stacked. There's so many good teams, and it's important to have L'Jarius Sneed and be able to control Stefon Diggs. Like I said, there's just been so many really good guys that have come into pretty much every team. I mean, getting Michael Pittman back for the Colts was huge. Obviously, Anthony Richardson coming back after his injury will be huge. You go to Houston, Danielle Hunter. They already have Nico Collins. You get Stefon Diggs. You have Danico Autry, Azeez Al-Shaair. That team is going to be good. The Titans, Calvin Ridley, Chidobe Awuzie. Boom, that's good right there. And then, of course, L'Jarius Sneed. Now, I want to focus on the receivers here because, obviously, interdivision signing with Ridley going from the Jaguars to the Titans, and then, obviously, Diggs coming from from Buffalo to Houston. Who's going to have a better season? Is it going to be Calvin Ridley at 29 years old, or is it going to be Stefon Diggs at 30 years old? Who's having the better year next year? Is Diggs washed? Is Ridley ready for another stellar year after a pretty solid one in Jacksonville? Let me know down in the comment section. R for Ridley, D for Diggs. All right, coming up here with Stefon in Houston, the Titans need to bolster up their defense a little bit more, in my opinion. And I think there is still one position of need, maybe. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Before that, I got to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, and that is Game Time. You can get $20 off your first purchase by using code CHATSPORTS right now when you download the app and create an account. You shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. And I know we've all had very, very challenging times with so many ticketing apps on the market. Well, guess what? Game Time's the one you should choose because it's fast, it's easy, and it's honestly very, very nice for every single event in your area. They have sports like the Nashville Predators. They're taking on a couple of good teams. They got the Blues tomorrow. You can go check out that game and get $20 off your first purchase. Plus, they have killer last-minute deals. They have flash deals. They've got zone deals. And they're the best place for last-minute tickets. If you're like me, you're not a person that you're a big planner. Well, guess what? Game Time will sell you tickets not only an hour up until the game, an hour into the game as well. Literally, the game can be started. You can go buy tickets, and you can use this code, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. They've got an amazing app where you can see the view from your seats before you buy. All-in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. ChatSports, no spaces, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, the linebacker room is still a little thin, in my opinion. Obviously, Kenneth Murray was a pretty good signing, but the linebacker room as a whole, I don't know if I trust it as a whole. I like Harold Landry. Arden Key, I think, is really good as well. I appreciate Kenneth Murray, and Jack Gibbons is going to be okay, but I think there's just still a bigger need here just to fill this out and maybe get a left inside linebacker. I like Gibbons. I don't know if he is starter level, in my opinion. Now, Kenneth Murray obviously is a recent acquisition of the Tennessee Titans, getting the 2-year, $15.5 million deal. But with Azeez Al-Shaair going to Houston, is there still somebody they could go after in the linebacker free agency market? Well, I want to bring out 4 guys that I think the Titans should or could sign, with the first one being Isaiah Simmons. Now, this past year, playing with the New York Giants, he was pretty solid, 50 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception. But his career that got him the contract in New York was 2022. 99 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions. And that followed up a 100-tackle year with 4 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks. He's been a really solid guy over his 4 years in his career, and he would be a good fit in Nashville. Plus, he's still pretty young. I mean, you talk about this guy, he's 25 years old, 26 years old. He's not going to be one of these older ones that we're probably going to bring up here in a couple moments. But Isaiah Simmons, I think, fits the build of what the Titans are trying to mold their linebacker room around. A little bit more speedy, a little bit of a younger core. I think it would work, especially with Harold Landry and Arden Key on both right and left sides. You put Isaiah Simmons, you could probably stick him in the interior. I know that not exactly what he would want to do, but you can kind of figure out the way you want to mold this linebacker room. Would you sign him? Is my question to you. Type S for sign if you're thinking, yeah, I like that. I want to get this linebacker room to the best it could possibly be. The Titans still got some money. Type S for sign. Type P for pass if you're saying, nah, I'm not doing that. Let's talk about Zack Cunningham, because the former Titan himself is a free agent right now, and could he potentially be a fit? Now, obviously, kind of backtrack in case you don't know, he did spend 2022 with the Tennessee Titans, playing in just 6 games. That was after he was traded from Houston to Tennessee in 2021, spending half the season with Tennessee. So somebody who has a familiarity with the defense, obviously, or at least the team in the area. Obviously, the team in terms of coaching and defensive style will probably change with Denard Wilson coming in here and Brian Callahan being the head coach. His PFF grades are solid. I'm not going to say they're anything special. That's not something you look at and think, oh, dear gosh, don't sign him. His overall grade, just shy of 70, run grade of 70.7. His pass rush, not great, and his coverage grade is okay. He's obviously somewhat of a different type of guy than Isaiah Simmons, a little bit of an older one, more of, I'm going to be a run defense and coverage. It's not going to be somebody who's going to attack the passer too much, but I think it would be definitely something to look at, given he knows the area, given Rand Carthen dealt with him last year and knows kind of his vibe. Maybe it's something that could be explored. Shaq Leonard is number 3, and I know that this one may be some surprise, maybe put some surprise in your head, but this guy's been good over his entire career, and I think it's somebody that you have to take a look at. 16 sacks, over 630 tackles, 12 interceptions, 17 forced fumbles, most of his time spent in Indianapolis before going to Philadelphia the back half of this past year. I think the thing here is he's a notable name. I don't know if he's the best option, though. I don't think that this is somebody that I'm going to actively 100% pursue over other options. But if this is something that you get for a good price, why not? You help out and you get a veteran presence in the linebacker room more than you already have. Let's go with number 4 here, Quan Alexander. Now, Quan is an interesting topic because he's kind of the opposite, not the opposite, but a little different than Zack Cunningham, because his big downfall is that he is not great in the run defense. His PFF grade in run defense is below 50. However, he is really, really good at coverage and pass rush. So if you need him to blitz, he can do it. You need him to drop back in coverage, he can do it. He's just not the greatest at reading the running back, and I think that may be where, what are the Titans looking for? Do they want somebody to put in coverage? Do they want somebody to have for run defense? Do they want somebody to rush the passer? There's a lot of different things that they could do, and obviously different sets, different formations could kind of bode well for Quan. Some could make it where he honestly maybe shouldn't be on the field. It's up to Denard Wilson, though, because it's his defense now, and I'm curious to see how he kind of molds and constructs everything on the defensive side of the ball. We're just going to have to wait and see. All right, once again, hit that subscribe button, because if you made it to the end of the video, then you must have enjoyed something you heard. So we do appreciate it if you're still watching. 57 subscribers away from 9K. Man, I want it today, so hit that subscribe button. For now, Titans fans, I love you, and say it in the chat. Tighten up and peace out.